Okay, guys, welcome to the Q&A session on how to build your career in robotics. And today it would be very informal and very open, so you can just tell me about yourself, and I can also share my experience and so on. And if you have any specific questions on how to get started and how to learn things by yourself, or whether or not to do masters in robotics, which subjects to choose, and any other topics related to building career in robotics, computer vision, or machine learning, or any subdomain in this area, basically. So yeah, I think we can just start. Maybe we can start with a short introduction from everyone, and also so it depends on if more people join. We can take more questions, but maybe initially we can start with just the introduction, and then if you have one specific question, and so on. And so the session would be mostly 1 hour long, and so we'll try to cover as many questions as possible. So yeah, who would like to go first?
I can go first. You can hear
Okay,
me.
cool. Yeah, we can also hear you now.
Yeah, right. So, hi everyone. My name is Moise, and I work as a data scientist. And before coming into this field of data science, I also completed a master's in the field of artificial intelligence. And yeah, my question would also be along these same lines, how much relevant is a master's degree for more more so in the applied domain of robotics, ML, or AI, and along in this field area. So
Okay, so you are already in data science field, right? So once again, you did your masters and you're doing your masters in data science, or are you currently working?
I also did my master's, but that was more research focused master's
Okay,
program. I would
but
say
in which field was it specifically, your masters?
computer vision.
Computer vision. Okay, so you did your masters now. Your question is, do you need an additional masters for robotics to switch to robotics, or?
Yes, more like a professional master's, or how much is a professional master's relevant for today's jobs in ML, AI, and robotics.
Hmm. And right now you are working in a company, or are you looking for jobs?
I'm working in a
You're
company,
working.
but it's a more applied role.
Okay, applied data science role basically, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, got it. So, yeah, whether or not you need a master, so I think it depends on the situation. Of course, a lot of companies still value masters. Also, where are you located? Because this answer also depends on the location where you're based currently.
I'm located in Pakistan right now.
Here in Pakistan, okay. Yeah, so it depends on the location as well, because a lot of countries do value professional degrees, and whether you have bachelor's or master's or even PhD if that's a research role, right? And so if you want to, do you want to continue working in Pakistan but in the robotics domain, or are you willing to also move to other countries depending on the opportunity?
Uh, I can move for better opportunities, but
Mostly
it
you
would
would
be
want.
also better if you can hint if there are remote job opportunities possible
Yeah. Mhm.
in the field of robotics as well. That would be really great as well.
Yeah, okay, awesome. So, yeah, so coming to the point, so in short, it is possible to get a job directly without a master's in, let's say, computer vision, robotics, or machine learning, or even data science, as long as you have some relevant experience to show, right? So, I know several people, I know some of my friends also who just did their bachelor's in computer science, but then they built up some projects, let's say in machine learning area, right? And then they got a few internships, and from that they were able to build a portfolio of projects in the machine learning domain. So they built their profile. And then I know one guy, so he was basically working in India, right? He did his bachelor's in India, and he was working there for a couple of years in normal software development, but he was doing some machine learning things alongside. And then from that, he actually applied to a few startups in Europe directly without a master's degree. And he was able to then obviously it took a few interviews and a few companies and applications and so on, but he was able to get a job directly at a startup. And generally startups are more open to hiring people, whether it's remote work or whether you have to go there. But they are more open to hiring candidates from other countries as long as you have the skills. So the process in short would look like, okay, you probably need to have some sort of engineering background, right? Whether it's if you want to go in computer vision or machine learning and so on, at least if you have a bachelor's in computer science, I think that would definitely be very important. And once you have that, then you should try to focus on which area you want to specialize in, whether it is is it computer vision, is it machine learning for you, is it robotics software engineering and learning ROS. And depending on which paths you choose, you have to find out which skills are important to you, right? So for computer vision, you need to also know some machine learning frameworks like PyTorch and TensorFlow and OpenCV, all these libraries and tools that are needed, right? And you would then try to do some projects. You can do these projects in the particular domain by yourself based on your interest, first of all. Or if it is difficult for you and you need some sort of accountability and some sort of professional setting, then you can apply for some internships, right? Or like even remote internships if that is an opportunity. And you can look for these opportunities on LinkedIn, um, to find a list of companies, and from those company names you can then go to the official website and look for openings and apply. So it is, in short, it's very much possible to do it without a master's degree. But at the same time, also taking into account the other point, if you have a master's degree, it's maybe slightly easier because then maybe you don't need to build a very comprehensive portfolio, because you also have these subjects studied and you have maybe some programming projects as part of your curriculum. So that does make things a bit easier. So yeah, does this answer your question?
Yeah, yes, it does.
Okay, okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, I think then let's circle around and hear everyone's at least one question from everyone, and then after that, if we have time, we can take more questions as well. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so yeah, Krish, do you want to go next?
Yeah, am I audible right now?
Yeah, now your voice is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Chris, quite common or I should say regular to this community. And currently, I have started with my second year of undergrad in computer science with a specialization in AI and ML. And currently, I'm focusing on to expand my domain in robotics, as it was the case in high school. And right now, I'm also interning in an organization based in IIT Bombay. So it's an online internship of 2 months. So I have started just last week. So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome, awesome, Krish. Thanks for your introduction. So, yours is it's a 7 year program, right? With bachelor's and also masters both together. So four years bachelor's and 3 years masters.
No, like in my program, it's uh, like there is an option to opt for a BE plus ME, but I
Okay.
haven't opted for that. That is for 5 years because for my masters, I am either planning to stay in India, probably in an IT, or maybe go to Germany as you went.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Germany, yeah, I'm still exploring because I remember Aditya's case also. He went to UNSW.
Mhm.
So right now, I'm maybe focusing on GATE and GRE for this year. So I will maybe start prepping up for that.
Okay. 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 Yeah. So basically, right now you're doing your bachelor's, right? And that would be something you would decide later. So yeah,
Right.
do you have some questions, Krish? Or
No, no, everything's fine with me. In question.
okay. Then I think then we'll circle around and get back to you after this. Yeah. So Mecca Kunis.
Yes. Hello. I am Yanis. I am from Cyprus. Um, I studied mechanical engineering for bachelor and a master. At the moment, I am in a robotics competition in Europe where we design a rover and compete with other teams in a Mars simulated environment. And in August, I'm going for my second master in advanced robotics, and I hope to specialize in AI related to robotics applications in the future. So maybe I will do a PhD after the master in this area.
Okay, yeah, nice. I think what is interesting is that you know exactly which direction you want to go into, right? So AI is specific to robotics applications, and that would
Ye-
include machine learning and computer vision mainly. And depending on depending on your research area, then it would be more
Yes,
narrow. Let's say reinforcement learning or imitation learning and so on.
I am already keen to go to learning based control.
Learning based
So
control.
yeah, I am more on this side. I will decide in the future, but for the moment, I am heading that way.
Okay, yeah, I think that's interesting. Definitely. I mean, I'm also in this domain in a way. So machine learning for robotics applications, and my research is mainly dealing with reinforcement learning, deep reinforcement learning. Although I'm still in the middle of refining my topic, but roughly that's
Yeah,
the direction. So
I think that
it's
field is very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And I
Yeah,
think the most interesting changes are in application of machine learning in the robotics um, domain overall. It could be robot manipulator arms, manipulation systems, or also navigation and locomotion. So that, yeah, application depends on what you're interested in. But in general, this direction is definitely very interesting. So, yeah, do you
yeah.
have some specific questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
I the question I have is related to this. As I researched in Europe, there is not a lot of AI reinforcement learning, robotics startups, and
Hmm.
master degrees or PhD. Most of them are in USA, as I know. And I want to ask if you know, for example, some companies that are not very well known and they are doing great work at this field.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because I can maybe share my screen.
Yeah,
Mm. Let me know if my screen is visible. Is my screen visible?
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, this is the website, and actually there's also a video on the best. I mean, this is Germany specific, so but at least this can give you some idea. And there are actually quite a few startups, and more startups are coming up that use AI specifically for robotics. So this whole article is also targeting not just robotics companies, but companies that use AI technologies for robotics. For instance, so yeah, I think it starts. Here, yeah, exactly. So, True Physics, for example. So, there's a list of 10 major companies that use AI technologies for robotics, and I also have some slides on these and a YouTube video on the YouTube channel, so you can check that out. But like which applications there are and which key technology stack they use for robotics, right? So they use, for example, computer vision and speech and machine learning and so on. And of course, for specific things, you can look in more detail on the website, but this should at least give you the list of companies and what technology they are using. So Artisans, RoboMinds, Suits, and Gestalt Robotics, Micropsy, and MechMind. And like, so there's a list of 10 companies. And also, if I remember correctly, I think I have a bigger list also on the website. Um, Yeah, I think there are a few more companies than in the list here, but I would probably also be updating this list and have more companies. And here also you can go to the company page and have there's more details on this. So maybe that would help you. And of course, this list
Great.
is sorry.
That's great. Thank you. I didn't
Yeah.
knew that you have some companies on your website.
Yeah. So I think this is at the bottom, so maybe it's not very openly visible. But yeah, in the industry section, if you go there, there's this list, and at the very bottom, it's like there's a blog, and there's video with the same title: Top 10 Most Cutting Edge German Startups at Automatica 2022 that develop AI for robotics. So I think this is specifically relevant to you. And of course, this is limited to Germany, but if you have to find, let's say, in France or other places in Europe or other countries, which companies use AI for robotics, so the best way is to go on LinkedIn and to like make a search of robotics companies, and that would probably also include the companies that just do robotics without AI and so on. But then you have to go to their official website and look at their job openings and what are the skills that they require, tools that they use, and so on. And you'll be able to understand if they use AI for robotics, if they ask, let's say, for Visual Slam and navigation, or TensorFlow, PyTorch. So more AI related frameworks that they would expect for their
Mhm.
roles. So in this way, you can be more sure. And I think best is like you if you make an Excel sheet for yourself, because everyone has different like interests. Maybe you would be more interested in navigation or reinforcement learning for navigation. By the way, reinforcement learning is more a research thing, right? So there's less chance of finding a company who is actually working in reinforcement learning for robotics. It will be more research specific. But if you want to use deep learning for robotics, so there are startups mainly that are working on some bigger companies as well. So yeah, hopefully that should help you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. That's an interesting question. Um, yeah, so anybody else wants to go next? So there are more people joining. So maybe I can repeat what we are doing is we are just having an introduction round, and if you have any specific question, you can also ask that. So yeah, Oxy Bloom, would you like to go next?
All right. Good day, everyone. My name is David, and I'm from Nigeria, though I'm currently schooling in India, specifically Siviraman Global University,
And where is it in India?
Bhubaneswar, Odisha.
Bhubaneswar. Ah, okay, nice, awesome.
So I'm currently undergoing my bachelor's. I'm in my second year in CSC, which is a specialization in robotics and artificial intelligence. And so far, I've been trying to develop myself personally in areas that concerns the field, and I'm specifically interested in applications of robotics, of artificial intelligence in robotics. But um my question is, I'm kind of in a conflict of how to split my learning process, because from my knowledge so far, I discovered that there are there are areas related to hardware and there are areas related to software parts. So I was having a conflict of how to merge both areas and where to focus more on, given that I'm still in my undergraduate.
Okay. Yeah, so right now you want to make a decision whether you want which area of which subdomain of robotics and AI you would like to choose as a career, right? And you're mainly interested in also applying AI for robotics. So maybe I can start with talking about different possibilities that you have. So one is you can work as a robotics software engineer, and that would mainly involve more like integration things and using ROS and controlling the robot and communicating with it and all these kinds of things directly related to the robot, right? So in that sense, if so, I'm assuming that you're more interested in the software side of robotics, right? Or do you also are you also open to the mechanical or electronic side of robotics?
I'm I'm majorly interested in the
Sorry,
side.
sorry, your voice broke. Could you repeat again?
Okay. So far, I am majorly interested in the software side of robotics.
Okay, okay, perfect. Yeah. So, as a robotics software engineer, you of course would be dealing with hardware, but you would be basically programming and controlling the robot, basically, right? And and maybe also integrating the other systems into the whole robotic pipeline. For instance, if there's some computer vision pipelines, for example, maybe there's a pick and place system and there's a camera on the top, and there's, let's say, a bin or a table, and there's a robotic system, and you have to, let's say, pick and place objects or manipulate some objects, push some objects, or do something. And in that case, that might require maybe some computer vision systems in the overall robotic pipeline or some machine learning system as well. So you would not be doing the computer vision stuff as a robotic software engineer or building machine learning pipelines, but rather also integrating the computer vision systems built by the computer vision engineer or the machine learning engineer, and making sure the overall system works well, right? So as a robotic software engineer, you of course, ROS is the primary skill that you have to master and focus on. And apart from that, for any of the fields, whether you choose computer vision, machine learning, or NLP or whatever, in any case, you need to learn basic version control things like Git and Scrum, and basic software integration things. There's actually a video on what are the top skills for robotics on the channel. There I have talked about each of the skills in more detail, so maybe that would also help you. So this was robotics software engineering, and the other is then computer vision engineering, and for that you require OpenCV. And nowadays, deep learning is used a lot in computer vision, especially nowadays. The large language models that have been very popular these days. There's also a parallel development that uses the same sort of technology for vision systems. So that's why like deep learning is also very important. So you have to learn a framework, start with TensorFlow, and then once you are really familiar with TensorFlow, you can also switch to PyTorch later, but you can start with TensorFlow and OpenCV and master those if you want to do computer vision. And for machine learning, likewise, you have to learn a framework. But for this, for machine learning, then you can also choose which kind of applications or which kind of data you want to work with. Do you like to work with uh, audio data or like visual inputs or multimodal inputs or time series data and so on? So these things you would be able to only understand once you have uh, tried out some projects by yourself. So you can go to Kaggle, for instance, to see what are the different kinds of projects there, and slowly try to do these projects by yourself and take simple projects in the beginning. So take a project that lasts maybe 1 week or 2 week, because your goal initially is to be absolutely clear which area you want to choose, right? So if you take a like 3 month long project, and then if you decide, hey, I don't really like this project, and maybe I would like to build robotic systems with ROS, right? but then you spent 3 months and you could have easily done a mini project for a couple of weeks and tried to understand whether you like a machine learning project, whether you like a reinforcement learning project or a computer vision project or a ROS related project. So take up let's say smaller projects for that last maybe 2 to 3 weeks each, and then within a span of let's say uh, 4 to 5 months, I mean you can give yourself 6 months to just explore small mini projects, and I think that would give you a really good level of understanding that hey, these are the kinds of projects that I'm interested in, and you would also get practical exposure to different domains. So yeah, hopefully this answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I think Vikas and Tarun are left. So who would like to go next?
Hi, sir. I'm Vikas. Am I audible?
Yes, hi Vikas, you're audible. Yes.
Sir, I'm an undergrad first year in India. I'm
Mhm.
currently pursuing electronics and computer engineering in college.
Mhm.
As we all know, robotics is a multidisciplinary field. I'm currently in a confusion state that whether I should explore every field in robotics or take just one concept or field now for now and practice it like entire thing for 1 year, or as you said, like take a mini projects for a couple of weeks and do explore like that, or what should I do, sir?
So you are at a very early stage now, so it's good that you're thinking about these things already. Um, what I would do is, of course, you robotics is interdisciplinary, but at the same time, you need to have a specialization, right? Because uh, you can be, let's say, you have some experience in let's say you do some projects in computer vision and you build a good profile in computer vision, and then also some mechanical design related things and also electronics things and so on, and this interdisciplinary knowledge would help you. But if you look at the job roles in companies, it would be a robotics software engineer or a computer vision engineer and so on, right? So having an interdisciplinary knowledge is also very important in robotics. uh, but at the end of the day, you have to decide, you have to choose one field and like gain mastery in that field, right? So for you, also similar approach would be probably helpful, but maybe you for you, because you are probably also open to trying out mechanical, electronics and other like more interdisciplinary way. So maybe you can take up mechanical design related. Maybe you can take up, I think for you, maybe I'll suggest a different approach that would allow you to explore different things, right? So maybe instead of taking these mini projects, you can take up one project that maybe lasts 6 months, and you can approach like professors in your university or teaching assistants and anyone who can help you guide in a project, right? Because you're in a very early stage in your bachelor's as well, so I think you would need that support as well. So you can say, hey, I want to build a mobile robotic system, a small, let's say, autonomous uh, mobile robot, or a small, let's say, drawing robot that would have like two arms, and you would be able to you would try to draw different shapes, right? So you can choose a simple project, or I mean, I would not recommend going for Arduino. That is also something that you can do. But Arduino is, in my view, it's for hobby projects. You won't really get. It's not too bad. It's good to start with, but eventually you have to get past that level and use the kind of things that are actually used in industry, right? Um, but initially you can take up a mini project, let's say, to build a mobile robot, and that would involve designing the mechanical thing from scratch and also electronics. Let's say then you would have to have a certain level of understanding about motor control and so on. And you would probably also have to buy these components and do these things practically. And on top of that, then once you have built a mechanical system, maybe you 3D print those components if you have that thing available in your university, or you manufacture those components cheaply and build those by yourself, and then you would buy the programming chips, the controllers and so on. So that would give you exposure to electronics part, and then on top of that, once you have done that, then you can start programming it to control it. And for that you can refer to books like Peter Quark, and I think it's called Robotics, Vision and Control. So that's a very good book for beginners to start with, and it goes deep into the technical topics. So, yeah, I would say you take up one interdisciplinary project and approach professors or people in your university who can support you with that project. Sorry, young pro was, could you mute yourself? There's a lot of noise coming, and then I think after that we'll get to you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, so this is one approach that you can take. One slightly big project, not too big, that would give you exposure to different domains. And after that, you can see, hey, I did the mechanical thing, but I don't really like it that much. And I did programming. Try to stick with Python programming initially because that's more universal. And once you have the Python skill, you can go to machine learning, or you can do computer vision. You can also do some robotics things with that, right? And obviously for low level control you need C++, but for you I think stick with Python to get an exposure to programming. Maybe you don't like programming, right? Maybe you like
Yes,
electronics
yes,
more.
I'm interested in software side.
You're more interested in the software.
Ah,
Okay. Yeah. So in that case, then you can once. So do you want to explore the mechanical and electronics side, or are you not interested in that at all?
uh, electronics. Maybe I would like to explore in electronics side, but not in mechanics side.
Not in mechanic. Okay, so you have some level of clarity there, right? So then in that case, you don't need to like design the mechanical system. You can use an existing design online, or you can buy a kit, right? And then in that case, you can focus on electronics and also the programming side. And if you take a mobile small autonomous mobile robot building project, and you can program it, then you have to integrate it with ROS, and you can control the robot, and slowly maybe you can integrate a camera into it. And there's literally a lot of possibilities. So once you have a little system with you, then you can be creative with it. Hey, I can now control the robot manually, but maybe let's try to make it more autonomous, right? Then you can include cameras, you can include other sensors with it and try to control it. You can explore things like Kalman filters and visual slam and how to control that. So yeah, so not to complicate things further, take up a slightly interdisciplinary project and include aspects of the fields that you are interested in it into that project. So let's say computer vision, let's say navigation, let's say ROS, let's say electronics, right? Only focus on the aspects that you are interested in, and also approach the professor or the university staff, uh, because they probably also cannot support you with everything, right? Maybe they have some systems already in some of your labs, and you can use those directly, so you don't have to buy your own kits, right? So yeah, in short, that would be the way. And another alternative is, as I mentioned previously, is taking up mini projects. But the reason why I recommend you that you take up one interdisciplinary project is because you are at a very early stage. So maybe you need more clarity and more exposure.
Okay, sir. As you said, I started a project like in ROS, an autonomic vacuum cleaner. As you mentioned, uh, what is it? I joined a club in my college, and the sir said me to. I said I have some basic knowledge in ROS, and he said, okay, you just do a few projects, and then by doing this project, and he gave me this project the robot. I'm using TurtleBot 3,
Mhm.
and this robot should go around and come back to the initial position. And this is a normal first project he gave to me, but I have no resources for learning that. So I started learning this Lentin Joseph's book.
Yeah.
Is there any resources like starting base from basics to an intermediate level for learning roster?
Yeah, I think Lenton Joseph's books I also recommend. I also made a video on. I think it's a short video.
I saw it, sir.
Yeah, so I think there's Ross Construct Sim, or actually Ross Wiki is also good because that's official resource, right? But Lenton Joseph's resource is good because it's designed for beginners, and then Ross Construct, and then there's this ETH Zurich Ross course. So just stick with any of the resource that you like. I think you are already following Lenton Joseph's books, so just stick with that, and you can follow some of the projects that are there and try to do it by yourself. And ultimately, like the trick with Ross is, it doesn't matter which resource you use because you will get stuck a lot anyway while you're doing it. And there will be silly errors and a lot of debugging problems. And then you would have to just Google things and try to understand the concepts along the way. So learning by doing is the best way to learn Ross.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Vikas. And yeah, maybe young pro, we can go to you, and then after that to Tarun. So young prof Hose, can you hear us?
Yes, I don't have a question for now.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, thanks. And Tarun, so let's get to you.
No question, sir.
Sorry, Tarun?
No question, sir.
No question. Okay. Yeah, so then we still have 20 more minutes. So, yeah, if anyone else has some other questions, or I mean, it doesn't have to be questions, you can also like generally share your experiences. Maybe it also helps other people, right? So, yeah, if anyone wants to share anything, feel free. Yeah. If not, then maybe I can tell you a bit about the things that I've been doing with the website. Um I mean, I know the whole interface is a bit immature, but I'm not really.
Hello,
Yeah, sorry.
sir. Can I ask you? I'm a non-CS pro guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Tarun, is it you speaking?
Um. Yeah, I'm speaking, sir.
Okay, yeah, Tarun, go ahead.
Uh, I'm, I'm a non-as a guy. I have no knowledge in programming. Uh, I would like to learn about robotics. Can you help me with that? I'm just interested in it.
So, once again, so you are from a non-programming background, you say.
Yeah.
And can you tell bit more about yourself? Like, what are you doing currently and so on?
I'm currently studying civil engineering.
Sorry, currently studying
Civil engineering.
civil engineering.
Civil.
Civil, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Construction.
And bachelor's, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so okay. So you want to try some robotics projects for fun, or do you want to actually? Are you considering like a proper career related thing?
Interested in it. I would like to.
Okay, so I mean, you're basically just you just want to explore and see, right now. So I mean, in your case, I
Yeah.
would say that um, yeah, I think initially you can focus on what are the kind of things that you find interesting. So using a curiosity-driven framework. So I have this whole video. I think some of you might have watched this on the roadmap to yeah, learn robotics. I think the complete roadmap to learn robotics, and there I talk about the curiosity driven framework. So initially you have to, because you want to understand whether you are really interested in robotics or not and in which field, then you have to try to spend some time really making a list of different things that you might have seen online or in the real world. Some things that you can automate in your house, for instance, a robot vacuum cleaner or a camera controlled computer vision, a camera based computer vision system, and so on. So maybe make a list of 10 to 15 different project ideas that are of your interest. Don't Google things. Just try to come up with these ideas based on what you know for now. And once you have a list of 10 projects, let's say it's mobile robot, right? Let's say it's a cooking robot. Let's say it's a cleaning robot. Let's say it's a computer vision system for pose estimation. Let's say it's a computer vision system for detecting your face from the webcam, right? So once you have a list of 10 projects, after that you spend some time actually looking at what are the projects, looking at if these projects, if some simple implementations of these projects already exist online, right? And then once you look at those, you can find like Medium articles, you can find GitHub repositories that would give you a lot of resource on GitHub. I think everyone should be spending a lot of time scrolling through GitHub. So like delete all other social media and instead you should spend more time on GitHub, because that is actually going to help you discover different kinds of projects. GitHub it is, and from LinkedIn you can connect with the right people and follow the right pages, and you would have different sort of projects from people in your feed, and so from those you can get ideas and refine your projects list based on the projects that are already existing, right? So you have your list and then you would refine your list based on the projects that are existing, and then after that, from that you would choose which projects, which one or two projects that you find most interesting, and you would just try to figure it out by yourself how you would do, right? And there are plenty of resources online. Once you know that there is a project that is of my interest and there's also enough resources online, you'll be able to figure out how to do it, right? So it will be a bit of trial and error initially to like make it run, and you would be stuck a bit, but that's the best way to learn. And once you have done, let's say, one or two projects based on your own interest, then you would start to get some understanding of which direction you might want to go in. And then after that you have to go to the company's websites and you have to try and see, hey, I did this visual slam project, for example, I did these kinds of projects in Ross, and are there actually jobs related to this, right? And so you can look at the job openings and see the projects similar to what you have done, and then try to find the right skills that they ask for, right? So do they ask for C++? Do they ask for Python? Do they ask for PyTorch or TensorFlow? And then you can do more of the projects that would help you get jobs in those companies in a way, right? So initially you focus on curiosity, then try to find the resources that exist online to make to start help you start doing the project by yourself, and then you try to um, validate these projects by means of seeing whether these projects are actually built by the companies, or these skills are required by the companies or not. So yeah, does it make sense?
Mm, yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Can you give me initial mapping
sorry.
from where to start? Can you give me initial mapping from where to start?
Initial, so have you watched this video, like the complete roadmap on how to start learning robotics on my channel, or not yet?
Not yet, sir.
Not, yeah. So I think that is actually the most viewed video on my channel, and that is also very recent, just 5 months ago. So I think this is helping a lot of people. So I think you can check that resource, and maybe I'll add a link. To the oh, okay. This is holding. Let's see. So yeah, actually, this is the video. So I can share the video link in chat. And I think once you watch the video, yeah, there's it basically gives you a system that you can follow in any stage of your learning journey. And of course, I advocate that you make a curriculum for yourself because everyone has different goals, right? Someone is in a very early stage, someone already knows that they want to do AI for robotics or reinforcement learning for robotics and so on. But if you follow this framework, you would be able to understand which things you should be focusing on for your interests, basically. So, yeah. And then if you have any further questions, you can write to me on Discord, I think, or also in the chat room. So that should be fine.
Hi, thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks, Tarun. So, yeah, I think, does anyone else have a question? So Aditya joined actually. Aditya, how are you?
Hello, Chandandeep. It's been a long time.
It's been a very long
A
time.
really, really, really long time. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah. So I just like last month I finished my master's finally.
Oh, really? Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah,
Congrats.
thank you, thank you.
Hmm.
So yeah, now I'm sort of on a short break and hopefully getting a job in robotics here in Sydney.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice. So you are in the job searching phase now.
Yes.
And how much
And
time do you get there? How many months do you get there?
so the thing is, over here, you can go for the TR. It's just that like the TR is for 3 years anyway, so I can apply for it, but I have to get it probably within a year or so, or
Okay.
it's like I'll just be basically be sitting and doing nothing.
Okay. But a
Yeah.
TR is similar to research assistant role, or how is it?
No, 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 no. Sorry, TR is the work permit, like the post study work permit.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I have the 3 years TR, and yeah, so I'm aiming for like next couple of months I get a job during that time.
Okay, awesome. And I think in Australia there are quite a few robotics companies, right?
Honestly speaking, it's quite less. The issue right now over here is it's still in the startup phase over here.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And like big companies, even though they might be having some presence here, it's just in terms of like business capacity, not in R&D term. Like
Okay.
not in R&D capacity right now. So there are some pretty interesting startups here, like working on mobile robots, underwater rovers, that sort of stuff. There are some space robotics companies as well.
Hmm.
So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, again, since they're just startups, they want to reserve their resources. So getting jobs is not super easy again. I mean,
Uh,
it's true for any startup that you go to anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. But I think it's also true that, I mean, mostly in robotics, the most cutting edge things are in startups, right? And also, I've noticed this the same thing in Germany. So most of the companies that use like AI related things for robotics applications, they are like trying to solve a new sort of a problem, right? And those are startups mainly, and bigger
But
companies also have that, but not to the extent that you would expect in startups. So I think that's more or less universal.
because
Of course, in US, I guess in general there are more robotics opportunities.
yeah, but I guess that's right because startups generally come out of a necessity, honestly, in some places.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, like there's some sort of problem statement, and that's what sprouts up a startup, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah,
big companies
exactly.
big companies, since they already have a working product, they don't want to invest too much time into building up a new product in itself. Like they just want to improve that, get as much money they can get out of that.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's difficult because there are already systems in place, right? So
Yeah.
if they have to like try out some crazy idea, then they have to go through the overall process and get approvals and things like that, and that makes it very difficult. Whereas for startup, they can just try out anything, and of course, there's a lot of risk involved in startups, but yeah, that's the advantage of a startup, right?
Yeah, and anything has a plus and minus. So yeah, definitely that's sort of the advantage of that.
But are you looking more for startup? You're just, I think, open to any sort of opportunities right now, right?
Honestly, yeah, like I'm aiming for mobile robotics. That's sort of my current
Mhm.
aim that I'm setting right now, because my thesis project also was sort of related to designing mobile, like a rover sort of thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, so like I'm sticking with mobile robots as my target area.
Mhm. And so you would be focusing on robotic software engineering roles, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Mhm. I mean, I think like on LinkedIn you posted your overall like project progress and so on, right? So I think you did
Yeah, I do.
also very, maybe you can expand on that because a lot of students are also in their bachelors here. So I think your experience would also help them. So maybe do you want to share your the kind of things that you did in while your masters during your masters?
Okay, yeah, sure. I can give a short overview of what I've done. So, hi guys, my name's Aditya Prakash. I've just finished my master's from UNSW, and I did my master's in Masters of Engineering Science with a major in robotics. And I guess I would say that the biggest positive out of my masters would be like I've learned how sort of the engineering process is done outside in other countries. Like in bachelors, you won't get that much idea, but when you get into your field, you'll get an idea of how everything is done, like very professionally, I would say. So I started my thesis early in the first year itself, after like my second term, because I got the idea of building a reconfigurable and a modular rover. So that sort of through my research work and like project work that I've done over the time during my BTech and post my BTech, I got that idea, and I sort of approached the professor, a few professors that I knew. I got a supervisor, and I just started my thesis early. That's not very common here because generally people here do it during the second year. But since the flexibility is given to students over here in like in universities generally, so I started my thesis early, did it early as well, and thanks to whatever work I did in my thesis, I got like a teaching uh, part-time, sorry, casual employment in the uni itself,
Mhm.
thanks to my project work, and I also got to do another research work post my thesis work as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's the I guess the common thing here is that like you just need to put in effort, be creative, do your studies, and everything's important for sure. It's just that like whatever you do, it sort of pays off eventually, I would say.
Yeah, that's
Like
awesome.
thesis work, like it definitely opened a lot of opportunities for me itself. So like you guys, like whenever you do your project work, anything, just look at like in long term how it's going to benefit you. Like are you gonna go in that field? Like if you're working on underwater rover, are you thinking that you want to build underwater rovers in the future as well? So yeah, like I guess having a bit more focus towards your project work would definitely help you quite a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
guess
Thanks.
that's my 2 cents on that.
No, that's very valuable advice. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's also about like just focusing on the things that you find interesting, right? And also, you did the kind of projects that you were very interested in. during
Yeah,
your,
that's
yeah. And also, of course, it depends on getting the infrastructure and resources which you were able to get by means of your thesis work and also the projects at your university, right? So I think
yeah.
obviously that is also very important. But currently, you are open to, you're not restricted to software, right? You're open to other directions as well, like mechanical or electronics and so on.
Yeah, that's true. Like my background is in electronics, and during my 1.5 year of experience post my bachelor's, I did most of my work on electronics and software. But thanks to my thesis project, I got experience with mechanical as well. Like at least the basics of designing and stuff, like CAD work and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I guess I am sort of open to different things, but like I would rather be focusing on a few parts right now
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
It
I think,
becomes
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, sorry. So I just want to say like it becomes overwhelming at a point of time. So it's better to sort of focus on one specific area because robotics is such a vast field. Like even AI is becoming a more and more prevalent part of robotics. So yeah, sometimes I sit down and think, oh my God, there's so much in computer vision happening. How am I
Yeah,
going to catch up?
yeah,
But I guess yeah, you just have to focus on what you want to do, within this vast field of robotics, what you want to specifically do, and just zero in and work towards that.
yeah, exactly. That's very accurately put. I think what is also what everyone can learn from your experience is that first that you like followed the topics of your interest, of course, and second is that
Yeah.
because you had such an interdisciplinary sort of profile, like mechanical, electronics, also programming. So now you are at a stage where you are open to different kinds of companies, right? So you can apply to like specific mechanical engineering roles and electronics and also programming. I don't know if you've also done machine learning or.
Yeah, I did study a bit of machine learning, but I would say it was sort of provided as elective. So it's
Hmm.
not like core part of my master's degree. So yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, I can definitely showcase that I have some sort of expertise through projects and stuff. But yeah, it's also part of like how confident I am with that because like when I get into a job, it's up to my skills how well I can execute the tasks that are handed down to me.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's up to
I
your
mean that.
confidence as well.
Yeah, that
Quite.
definitely depends. I mean, if you have multiple projects going on, then you'd feel more confident. But in a way, machine learning is also open to you, right? So
That's true. Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think you can explore. You have like it's actually the same framework that I was mentioning. I mean, of course you did it like intuitively, I would say, but that's how it is with robotics, right? Because you try out different things and then you say, hey. Now I have, and it also depends. You can say, hey, I want to do a machine learning role, right? That I did mechanical things, I did electronics, I did general robotic software things, I did machine learning, and you say, hey, no, I'm only interested in machine learning. But if you're open to, let's say, all the different roles, maybe there's not enough machine learning jobs, right? Where you're, or for some reason you don't find enough opportunities, but then you have something similar going on, right, for you. So it also depends on the opportunities. So I mean, we can theoretically sit down and choose our niche ideally, and in the framework also I mentioned that you have to like decide for yourself, but at the end of the day it also depends on which opportunities you get, right? uh,
Yeah, that's true as well.
you might be interested
Because
in research and you want to do a PhD, but you have to also get that role, right?
yeah,
uh,
it's not like world doesn't work around like with like based on our requirement. It's sort of how opportunities come eventually. But yeah, expanding your options definitely helps you quite a lot.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I think that was
Yeah.
very helpful
Yeah, for sure.
experience. And I think we can then formally end the session, and we can also stay after this and talk maybe for 15 minutes. Then after that, I would have to go. But was really nice. Thanks a lot for the interesting questions. And yeah, hopefully this was helpful, and good to see also some of the old members, Aditya and Krish, joining after a long time. I think I think we should do these meetups more often, but I think we'll talk about this afterwards. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
I'm
for sure, for sure.
formally stopping the recording.